brothers, four recognisable Kiwi brothers, who just happen to be descended from Norse gods, which is our kind of point of difference. But it's essentially a battle of the sexes story, and seen through the eyes of these four brothers and the god thing.
That was fiendishly difficult. The whole idea of a family of brothers who are descended from Norse gods living in New Zealand is something that was always going to take quite a bit to overcome the audience's very healthy level of skepticism that was inevitable with the premise as outlandish as that.
We hadn't had a show before that where it was a bunch of guys, and so that was exciting to be a part of. Just boys doing things, and for me, for that show, the Norse god powers were always just kind of heightened extensions of male characteristics anyway. Like, one of them was good at sports and games. He'd always win bets and games. One of them could charm women to do whatever he wanted to, just with his voice and his wit. And another one didn't age. Another one got upset and affected the environment around him when he lost his temper. So they were just, they're all just very male qualities with the knobs turned up. And so for me, that was always just like the show about men. Those characteristics are just then underlined as supernatural powers. But for me, it was always just a show about these Kiwi blokes.
When we first did the workshop for the Almighty Johnsons, the idea was was very catchy. Like, it was a very interesting idea to play around with these kind of idiot guys. They happen to be sort of reincarnations of Norse gods, and it felt like a very James Griffin-y type script, very deadpan, did a lot of deadpan humour, kind of silly situations, but all under the umbrella of sort of, Kiwiness.
And the stories were amazing. James did a fantastic job, as did all the other writers involved. It was funny, it was quirky, it was different. It was a risky show for TV3, and as a result, it ended up getting like a cult following all over the world.
It's completely daft. It's really clever, and when I think about James Griffin writing it, I like to imagine that he's got a room like Russell Crowe's character in Beautiful Mind, and it's just papers everywhere drifting across the walls and this kind of extraordinary map of his universe, which is just so out there and so on the edge, and there are no boundaries and no edges to his universe, and I really like that about the show. I like that anything can happen, and it does happen, and I like that it's just mad. It's mad to be on, and it's got a great energy.
It's quite Boise. In fact, it's very Boise. And I think it really, sometimes I read the scripts and go, oh my God, you can't say that. In terms of it pushes it a bit.
I spent a few years working with some of my best friends, and if they weren't at the beginning, they were at the end. We just had such a great time. It was everything you see on screen about our characters having fun and taking the piss out of each other was so genuine, because we were just like that every day. We had some really good laughs, and I think it made the process of the story a lot easier to tell, because we were like that.
Tim Balm I knew already, Jared Turner I knew. I didn't know Dean and Emmett, but we're still all good buddies.
The five of us all sort of weirdly fell into the right dynamic. Emmett, who plays Axel, is the youngest of, I think he's the youngest of 3 or 4 brothers. Tim is the eldest of us, and he has been an actor for a long time. He played the eldest brother. Ben is weird. He's a weird guy. I love Ben, but he's completely wacky, and he's perfect for Olaf. And and Jared is he is. He's a good friend of mine, so I can't say anything too bad. But he's kind of like Ty in a way. It was lucky because we all got along, and I think, in terms of the story, that's what brothers do. They fight and stuff, but there's an undercurrent of genuine care and love there for each other, and I think that's kind of what we ended up developing, and that's what James kept writing. So it did work really well.
You're trying your best to deliver your lines to the other character, but behind him, one of the other guys is pretending to hump the fourth guy to make you laugh and get in trouble. It was just pretty much body parts coming out to distract you from, which you're not really allowed to do because you actually get in trouble.
My character was just this kind of really rude prick in a way, and I loved it. It felt very freeing to do that. I mean, I'm probably much more conservative than that character is in real life, and so it was nice to do that.
She's really sharp. Not much tenderness in her. Very business, particularly in series 1. Quite arch almost, actually, a bit too arch in retrospect. And playing her. And in the first series, she was in her office the whole time. She got out for about 2 scenes, maybe. Oh, a bit more, but. So she was very much a talking head in that.
I love that it was quite a bold, quirky idea for a commercial piece of television. It certainly wasn't designed to be a cult show. It is fairly commercial. And I would love to see that audience just build, because, like I say, it could easily run to 5 or 6 seasons without it running out of ideas.
It never really gained the numbers that Outrageous Fortune did, anything like in the first series, which was at 9:30. The second series was at 8:30 up against Big Bang Theory, and no one watched it. From a ratings point of view, it was deeply disappointing.
The show has brought me a lot of gifts, and not just those of friendship and creativity, but I think it's taught me a lot as an actor. And I feel I've grown a lot, and particularly in season 3 of Almighty Johnson's. I'm really proud of the work that everyone did there. There's some really beautiful stuff. So yeah, I'm very fond of it, and I'm very proud of it. And I'm not sure that, sometimes I'm not sure that it's a show that is necessarily received in the way it was intended, or maybe it hasn't quite hit the audience it needed to hit, because it is so unusual. And I think because it is so unusual, I champion it so much, because I love shows like that. I think they're clever.
I'll post stuff on social media, post random pictures of something, and people, oh, nice, like. But when I post something about Almighty Johnson's, it's just like, fucking like. People love the shit out of that show. And that's real endearing and really lovely. And I'm so appreciative that there are people out there that love the show just as much as we do.